What's up, guys? It's Ben with 2020 election predictions, and today I'm doing a video on the best case scenario for Donald Trump in 2020. And a few days ago, I did one for Joe Biden, and a lot of people in the comments were like, "Where's the one about Donald Trump?" So I don't want to be biased. I'm going to do one for Joe Biden, and today I'm going to be doing my one for Donald Trump. And I'm 2 days away from my giveaway, guys. This is the last part of the race, the last little stretch. I'm almost at 460, and I want to get 500. I know 40 is a lot in 2 days, but I think we can do it. So just tell your friends and family and share the video with whoever you can. So let's just get started. I'm going to go with the solid Democrat states. Even if Donald Trump does like incredibly great, there's just some states that are going to be out of his reach, obviously. So let's just go down the West Coast briefly. California has a lot of big states. Illinois with Chicago, big urban center. I know Donald Trump is from New York, and I think when he was winning the New York primary, Donald Trump Jr. was like, "And we're going to make New York competitive," since it's Donald Trump's home state. I think a lot of people have realized that that's probably not super realistic, but I don't think anyone is going to argue with me with these states. I'll probably missed a few, so I'll go back. Let's go to the Republican strongholds. Oops. Obviously, the middle of the country. Oh, nope. Middle of the country, always very solid for Republicans. The flyover states, as some call them. Solid South. And this isn't Donald Trump's best case scenario, and I want to go over kind of a few reasons why I think this could happen, even though, like I said, for the Joe Biden one, I don't think that this outcome is going to be very likely. So the first reason why I think this could be a potentially realistic outcome is that with the jobs report that just came out in May, I think it's a very topical video. The jobs report was incredible. It's the best jobs report that we've had in a single month in May. And it just shows that while the economy did tank because of the coronavirus, it has shot back at an incredible level. The stock market is almost back at record highs as it was before, and it seems that the coronavirus has been very short-lived. And Donald Trump is going to pump a lot of money. He's going to he might do a payroll tax cut. He's going to inject a lot of money into the economy. And I mean, he's already put money literally in the hands of lower income Americans with the check that had a signature on it. So I think that could be huge with kind of swing voters who potentially are deciding who they're going to vote for at the last minute, who aren't as politically engaged. Second, his campaign is just flush with cash. I've talked about this before. In 2016, Trump's campaign was not very well organized. It was kind of just they're getting guys off the street, guys and gals off the street. And it wasn't very well financed. And Hillary Clinton spent like double the amount of money as Donald Trump. But I could see Donald Trump actually spending more money than Joe Biden. He has a ton of money in his war chest. His fundraising efforts have been incredible. And even though the coronavirus has put things online, Donald Trump's digital campaign is a lot better than Joe Biden's, and this will go for a long way. Next up, voters have a very short attention span. Obviously, these last 3 weeks, besides the jobs report, have not been great for Donald Trump. I think the George Floyd protests, Donald Trump has not handled them as great as he could. Obviously, there's still time, so maybe he can salvage some of the, I don't want to say like destruction maybe that he's done there. But lastly, the hugest consideration why this might happen is Joe Biden. Joe Biden really, I would say, is kind of like a loose cannon. He's a very he's an old man, and his health could be deteriorating. No one wishes that upon Joe Biden, obviously, but there's just a lot of variables. He's very gaffe prone, and let's say that his health starts to deteriorate towards Election Day. What are the Democrats going to do? Obviously, they would want to replace him, but that process is very long and arduous. And if people, maybe he would have voted for Joe Biden before, if they see that Joe Biden is not like a stable, solid rock, they might just vote for the devil that they know, which is Donald Trump. And that's quoting an article, not that I think Donald Trump is the devil. But, okay, moving on. So let's go to the likely Democratic states. These are not the solid states. There's an article, and I think in this one, they said the Trump campaign is going to go after Oregon, which I don't think that Oregon is going to be in reach in 2020. I think he only lost Oregon by 11 points, which is the closest it's been for any election, but still, he's not going to invest a lot of money in Oregon, and Oregon is going to be very hard to win. Next up is Connecticut. I think Connecticut was within like 14 points, same deal as Oregon. New Jersey is a little bit unique. I don't know if y'all remember the news cycle with like after the impeachment vote, there was a Democratic congressman who switched his party affiliation to Republican. A lot of people think that he realized he would not be able to win re-election as a Democrat. So this might go to show that New Jersey might be trending towards the right. And I've seen a lot of articles saying that kind of these more like white northern states that have a little bit of a populist strain in them are going to trend right, while these more diverse states like Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas are going to trend towards the left. It'll be interesting if this turns out to be true. But, yeah. Okay, so next suburbs are kind of the likely Republican states, and obviously this is in Donald Trump's best case scenario. Iowa, Ohio, I've talked about these before, Georgia, Texas. Donald Trump won all these states by over 5 points in 2016. He could do it again. And I've kind of told you on the past how I defined likely states are states that are between 5 and 12 points. So I think that Donald Trump could win these states by over a 5-point margin. Next up, we're going to go towards the lean states. I want to go with the lean Democratic states. There's only one actually on here. It's the state of New Mexico. I know that Donald Trump said he's going to try to do gains in here. He lost the state by 8 points or 8 or 9 points in 2016. And I'm sure that Gary Johnson took away some of his votes, but I'm sure a lot of these Gary Johnson people would have voted for Hillary Clinton as well. So I think Donald Trump, maybe in his best case scenario, will lose this state by between 2 to 5 points. And then now going to all the other states, I think that the Republican states, North Carolina, likely Republican. Actually, I think North Carolina could be a likely. Florida, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. These are all states that he won in 2016, and I think that very well he could do the same thing in 2020 with these states. Okay, so moving on to the tilt states, and how I'm kind of doing this is like on a scale. So in 2016, like Donald Trump barely won these states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. And even though in Arizona he had a more healthy margin, it's trended to the left a lot. So Arizona is kind of on the same type of ranking scales as states like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and even Florida, because Joe Biden has been up in some of the polls. But let's say that all these polls are off. These 5 states are kind of in the same category. Like right now, I would consider them swing states. But in Donald Trump's best case scenario, I think he could do very well in these states. So next up, let's go to the Democratic tilting states. I think that Virginia, although that Donald Trump outperformed the polls there in 2016 and George Bush won the state twice in 2000 and in 2004, it has trended so far to the left. And I think Joe Biden, he's been in Washington for a while. Obviously, Washington, D.C. is part of Washington. The Donald Trump campaign is going to try to characterize him as a swamp creature. And in Northern Virginia and the state of Virginia as a whole, they like politicians that they're used to. And I just don't see Donald Trump, even in his best case scenario, being able to win Virginia. Next up is the state of Colorado. I think it would still tilt towards the Democrats, especially having John Hickenlooper on the ballot. He's very, very popular. He's up by like plus 14, plus 15 in the polls. Donald Trump lost the state by 5 points in 2016, which surprised a lot of people, but still, it's been trending towards the left, and I just don't think that Donald Trump really is going to make a huge play in Colorado, even though it is like still more competitive than like New Mexico or Oregon, I would say. So lastly, going to the tilt Republican states, and it's kind of self-evident. Minnesota, I think this could even be a lean GOP state, but just because Donald Trump didn't win it in 2020, and there's just so much kind of chaos and turmoil going on in Minnesota right now because of the George Floyd protests. I'm just going to keep it as a tilt right now, but I think Donald Trump could very well win the state. He only lost it by 1.5 points in 2016, and I think this could be a pickup for Donald Trump in his best case scenario. Next up is New Hampshire. In terms of raw votes, this was the closest state in 2016. If we want to look at it, it was really only like less than a 3,000 vote margin, and it was only 0.3 percentage points off. I think this could be a pickup for him. And same with Maine. So he lost Maine by less than 3 percentage points, but Maine is very similar in its makeup as like New Hampshire is. And I think if he really does well with his like white working class base, then Maine could be a lean Republican toss-up. Oh, Maine at large. Okay, so he wouldn't win the first district just because he won it, but he would win the second district. And I still think he's going to win the second district, even if it's not his best case scenario. All right, lastly, going to the state of Nevada. I think this would be the most difficult pickup for Donald Trump in 2016. This was considered a swing state in 2016, but the polls kind of had it off. They had Donald Trump overperforming. Nevada is historically a very hard state to poll, but I think that Donald Trump could pick up ground, especially among Latinos in the state of Nevada. So there you have it. In Donald Trump's best case scenario, you see a lot of red on this map, even though I don't think this is a likely outcome right now. There's a lot of things that can happen between now and November, and this is pretty similar numbers to what Joe Biden had. I think Joe Biden maybe had a few more of electoral votes, but I think like Donald Trump and Joe Biden were both a little over 200 electoral votes when it was the opponent's best case scenario. So, like I said, this is going to be one of the closest elections ever. But I definitely do think that the real electoral outcome will be between Trump's best case scenario and Joe Biden's best case scenario. So go back and watch Joe Biden's best case scenario. I'll put the link in the description just if you want to put these side by side. And 2 more days until my giveaway, so please keep on watching my videos and telling your friends and family to subscribe. Thanks, guys.